Okay, good morning, students. I just want to say thank you for being very attentive to our presenter right now as soon as she got on the microphone. Let me go over the group norms before we start. I need everybody facing the front and give our devoted attention to our panel of speakers. So if you're giving them their back, you need to face the front. Number two, I do not want to see any phones on the table. If I see it, I will pick it up and it will go directly to Ms. Sylvia Flores' office, and you will have to pay $15. So don't put yourself in that situation, please. So today we want to welcome our panel of speakers. This morning we are joined by representatives from Texas Department of Transportation, Professional Engineer, Mr. Mike Miranda, Assistant Engineer, Mrs. Ana Pruneda, a representative from the FBI, Mrs. Lora J. Gioeni. And also, we have two representatives from the University of UTRGV, Professor Juan Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez is a professor for Earth and Environmental Science, and we have his graduate student accompanying him, Mr. Eli Gonzalez. So at this moment, we would like to welcome everyone. And now we will be starting this morning, and Ms. Belinda Garcia will be doing the rest of the introductions. Thank you.
Good to see you all this morning. I know Ms. Santos Palomo and your counselors have done an outstanding job in getting you all here this morning. And our speakers, we want to thank them for being here, because you all know that being an engineer is a very important job and they're always busy. So we want to thank them for being here. So the way we're going to do this is each one of them will introduce themselves and say maybe how they got started in the business, and also a little bit about their education. That way, if you want to go into that field, you know exactly what to do outside of high school. Following that, we'll go ahead and do Q&A. There should be some iPads with your ambassadors. If you want to ask them a question, ambassadors, where are you? Raise up your hand. There, we see them. Okay, if you want to ask a question, raise up your hand. An ambassador will go to you. You can type in your question on the iPad, and I actually will see it up here. Of course, we want to be courteous, we want to be professional, because we've spoken very highly of all of you. So if you have a good question to ask, now would be the time to do it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side. With TxDOT, we have Ms. Ana Pruneda. And Ms. Pruneda, if you can just tell us a little bit about you and how you got started at TxDOT.
All right, good morning. My name is Ana Pruneda, and I am an engineering assistant at the Texas Department of Transportation. Just about myself, I recently graduated from college this past May with a bachelor's in civil engineering. I was fortunate enough to have an internship during the summer with TxDOT, and then now in September I was fully hired, so now I'm a full-time employee with TxDOT, like Mike. I am an engineering assistant. I still need to work on for my professional license like Mike. So that's one of my ultimate goals. And well, I'm here to answer any of your questions. And if you have any questions regarding college, internships, scholarships, I just got out of college, everything's fresh in my mind, and we're here to help. Thank you.
Thank you. And especially girls. I know sometimes we say, well, STEM is not a girl field, and this is just living proof that it is. And it's open to anybody. So thank you, Ms. Pruneda, for that. Go ahead.
Yes, there's fewer girls in the engineering field, but we also can wear steel-toe. Girls, if nothing happens. I actually like wearing steel-toe boots. Well, and I was promoted to an office, so I don't get to wear them as much. But girls can be engineers. Guys, don't get offended, you guys can be engineers too, but girls are mostly needed. Like, we need females out in the engineering field. So, like, again, if you have any question, girls, don't be afraid to ask. We're here to help.
Perfect. You heard it from Ms. Pruneda. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Miranda to share a little bit about himself as well.
Good morning, students. Good morning, faculty and staff. My name is Mike Miranda, and I'm a professional engineer with the Texas Department of Transportation, also known as TxDOT. I've been there for about 1.5 years. Prior to that, I was a traffic operations engineer for the city of McAllen for about 9 years. And right before that, I was in college. So I went to Texas A&M University, Kingsville. I obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering. And I'll be going over a little bit more of the educational requirements during the question and answer sessions. But I basically got into this career late high school. I had a teacher in high school who taught an engineering class. And he noticed my interest in the field of science and mathematics. And he also was the one who pushed me to start looking more into any engineering field. Like I said, my degree is in civil engineering, but there's multiple disciplines. There's mechanical, electrical, there's computer science, there's different fields of engineering that you can all look into. And if you have any questions over engineering in general, not just civil engineering, I'd be happy to answer those questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is LJ Gioeni. I'm an FBI special agent. I've been in the FBI for almost 22 years. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, so I'm not from the Valley, but I love the Valley, and I'm going to retire here with my family in a couple of years, or in a year or so. My educational background, I have a bachelor's degree in biology and criminal justice with a minor in chemistry. I have a master's degree in molecular biology and an emphasis in entomology, and then my PhD in molecular biology with an emphasis in forensic entomology. I was a Dallas police officer, go Cowboys, for 5 years, right? And I'm also a forensic scientist, a DNA examiner for the FBI laboratory for close to 17 years of that time in the Bureau. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. And yes, ladies, we love science as well, so we can do science. And my guys in here, same with you guys, science is cool. Let's go.
Okay, next we have Mr. Eli Gonzalez, and he's actually a graduate student at UT-RGV with Mr. Gonzalez. So Eli, you're a student right now. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Eli Gonzalez. I graduated from Roma High School in 2008. I got my bachelor's from UT Pan American in 2015 in environmental science. I went off into the oil field soon after that for a few months, and then I decided to come back for my graduate degree. Basically, at this point in time, I'm doing my graduate degree in geoscience, mostly because I love the outdoors a lot, and this degree, environmental science, geoscience, lets me work a lot in the field. I can do a lot of field work. It's a passion of mine. My research right now is trying to understand how a formation between Kennedy County, basically between Edinburgh and Corpus Christi, and trying to figure out how much water is available in that area and where the water is going, and trying to understand the properties of that formation in general. As far as classes that I've taken before, the majority of my classes are in geology, some mathematics classes, bio classes as well, but for the most part it's in geology. So.
Well, that's awesome to have one of the students, because you're going to be there in a couple years at UT-RGV, so it's good to see another graduate student doing it and doing the work, putting in the work to become in the environmental industry. So next we're going to have Mr. Gonzalez. He's a professor at UT-RGV for the Earth and Environmental Science. Welcome, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Belinda. Good morning, the students, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting us to be part of this event. I am part of the Environmental Sciences group at UT-RGV. I've been there for 9 years now. My training is in geosciences as well, but I got my undergraduate in oceanography and geology and my PhD in earth sciences. Like Eli said, if you like the outdoors, if you just like to spend part of your workday outdoors, environmental sciences is your field. We have a growing, very dynamic program. We are recruiting new faculty and students, and I hope to see many of you applying and seeing you there. I will be happy to answer questions as we go, but let me just say leave one last idea with you. The government, the federal government, and many officials are very concerned with the shortage of environmental sciences in the foreseeable future. By 2020, which is just 2 years from where we are, they are expecting a shortage of 135,000 professionals. So if you graduate in this field, you will not have any difficulty finding a good paying job that hopefully will allow you to do mostly what you like. I will leave it at that for now, and again, I'm happy to answer questions on any curriculum, what the degree plan involves, what the specialty of the faculty are, or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, and I apologize for not introducing you as Dr. Gonzalez. Okay, so before they started, we said that you all could ask questions. So if something piqued your interest when they were talking, now is the time to ask a question. But before we start that, I already started getting a couple in. I'm going to go back to TxDOT because I know that they brought something to show you all. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mike Miranda and to Ana to present what they brought.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if everybody can see it, but here on the stage is a traffic signal head. This is a real traffic signal head that you would find anywhere on the road. I like to bring this to career days or presentations because a lot of people don't get to see this up close. I've had students and even teachers ask me, is this like an enlarged version of the real thing? No, this is the actual product. This is the actual size. These are 12-inch lights, 12-inch diameter lights, basically maybe about the size of a basketball. So when they're hanging up above the road, they look more like the size of a softball maybe. But this is the minimum requirement for traffic signals in the state of Texas and also in the United States.
Isn't that pretty cool? I thought they were a lot smaller too, so I'm pretty astonished by that. Okay, for our first question, where is Francesca Garcia? Hi, Francesca. Okay, her question this morning is, what should my bachelor's degree be to then enter into law school? I'm going to go ahead and send it over to LJ because I know that that's in the public service field. So if you want to go ahead and take that question, if anybody else wants to chime in, they can do so as well.
Thank you for the question. So to be pre-law is obviously one answer. Another answer would be poli-sci, political science. Another answer would be the histories, global studies. You could do international studies, etc. on it. If you're looking for a job with the FBI, any of those major topics would be fine to pursue and to come into the FBI. We have attorneys that are either agents or non-agents or professional staff that are practicing all different types of law along the course of their career. And every FBI field office has an attorney present, an FBI attorney to assist the agents and the professional staff with their day-to-day activities.
Okay, LJ, I'm gonna, if you just hold that mic for me. Now, you've done presentations here before and to our other high schools as well. And FBI sometimes is seen as only law enforcement, but that's not true, right?
That's correct. It is not only law enforcement. Actually, if you're pursuing a degree in criminal justice once you get out because you want to get into the FBI, that's the road I took initially. And I absolutely could not stay in criminal justice when I went to undergrad, and that's why I switched over and I was a double major in biology. But we're looking heavily for STEM graduate degrees. We're looking heavy at accounting, business, finance, history, even education, English majors, etc. So do not get boxed in that you have to have law enforcement experience or a criminal justice degree or military sciences. You do not need that, or military experience or law enforcement experience.
Okay. Next question would be for you, TRGV, Dr. Gonzalez and Eli. Maybe both of y'all can tag team on this one. What would be some of the prerequisites that maybe the students should look at now that they're in high school to get into college? Should they be looking at volunteer hours or specific classes that they need?
Both help. You have to have an interest in the sciences naturally, and I understand that the group here today, they all have it. So work very hard towards getting a very strong background in math, chemistry, biology, for sure. Environmental sciences is very multidisciplinary, and you will get exposure to all of those fields. So for now, just work very hard to earn good, solid grades that will help you transition into college, and we'll take it from there. If I may, Belinda, just add to the last question.
Sure.
That was a very important question, and I think that we got a very good answer from LJ. Let me just add that in Capitol Hill, representatives and senators are eager to have young people with a strong science background that can communicate science. You know, communicating science is not easy, and if you are considering a career in law and you have passion for the environment and for nature, well, getting an environmental science degree will help you get that position and potentially just earn a good job there temporarily that will broaden your horizons. Working with representatives and with lawmakers could be an important step in anyone's career.
Right, and some of the times we think that our science or math is just that, and there's so many career opportunities that you all have with every single division, whether it be in the government, in your city, in your school district. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at a different career. Eli, I know that you're a grad student right now. What are the things that you did to prepare to get into your graduate studies? I apologize.
Yes. As an undergraduate, when I was doing my bachelor's degree, I would routinely seek out advice from Dr. Gonzalez and other faculty members in the geology and environmental science program. For the most part, I ended up doing a lot of undergraduate research with faculty, and that kind of set me up to the type of research that I'm doing right now for my thesis projects. It essentially teaches me how to be a researcher in a way as an undergraduate. It starts to get me trained for what I do now. Based off of the different classes that are available, my graduate studies right now are very dependent on what I did as an undergraduate student. I'm able to work with a lot of sophisticated softwares that let me model the information that I put in and lets me do my analysis for my research and whatnot.
Okay, thank you, Eli. And we're getting a lot of questions in, so thank you for that. Where is Jose Chavez? Anybody? Okay, sorry, I can't see you. Okay, Mr. Chavez had a question. Where is the best engineering pay at? Who gets paid the most as an engineer, or where should they look if they're looking for that?
Well, it's not civil engineering, I'll tell you that. I think, I haven't done research on that in quite a while, but from what I can recall, the areas of computer science engineering were one of the highest paid. Civil's actually probably near the bottom, I would say. I think anything having to do with technology, so computer science at the top. Second, I would probably say electrical engineering. If there's any that you can think of, Anna, I'll let you chime in, but I know civil's not one of the highest paid, but I will say this about civil engineering. It is probably one of the easiest fields to find a job in. At TxDOT, we have engineers that got mechanical engineering and electrical engineering degrees, but they're working as civil engineers because they couldn't find a job in the valley. You know, they didn't really want to leave the valley, so those are some pros and cons about civil engineering.
Well, I have to say probably also like petroleum engineering, biomedical engineering, but those are very competitive to get into. I had a friend who, she was valedictorian in my class in high school. She went into A&M College Station. She was doing biomedical, and you needed specific GPA. So she literally missed it by like hundreds, like nothing. So it is very competitive. She ended up doing agricultural engineering. So, I mean, if you want to go into a higher pay, yes, you may get paid more. But it is a lot more competitive. Like Mike said, it may be a little bit more difficult to work with other companies, or you may have to leave if you want. If you want to stay in the valley or in Texas, maybe you will have to leave to find a job in like electrical or computer, since it's very limited here in the valley or in Texas.
Okay, and along the same engineering field, where is Jackie Garcia? Oh, hi, Jackie. Her question this morning is, what are some classes to take in the college or the university of her choice to pursue her career in the chemical engineering field?
Okay, well, for any field of engineering, the first 2 years of college, it's a 4-year college degree, more or less. Sometimes it'll take 4.5, 5 years. I took 4.5 years to complete my engineering degree. But for the most part, the first couple of years, the classes are pretty much the same across the board. So whether you're going for civil engineering, mechanical, chemical, you'll find that all the students that are majoring in those different fields are in the same classes those first 2 years. So the emphasis primarily is on more of the basics. You know, you have some science and math classes, but also you have your English classes. Engineers have to be good at reading and writing. You have to take your history, your political science, and your electives. So for the most part, those are the classes that you take for the first 2 years. And then as you move closer to your junior and senior year in college, that's where you start to kind of break apart and take your more specialized classes in the major that you're pursuing.
Okay. Next question. And this will probably be for everyone. Where is Natalie Quiñones? Anywhere? Oh, good morning. Okay, her question is, what do you enjoy most from your career? And maybe we can go from left to right, or...
Well, I like construction. I mean, TxDOT has different sections. We have construction, we have design. I work for the advanced project development, where you pretty much do the behind of the scenes before a project is actually constructed. And well, what I like is that although civil engineering is not like the most paid, it is very broad. There are different sections. You can work pretty much as a structural engineer, geotechnical, environmental engineer, transportation. So there's different things. And I like civil engineering mostly because of the construction. I'm more into that. I actually like wearing my steel toe boots, my hard hat. I did that for 2 summers as an intern, and it's a learning experience, and I actually like how you can easily move from any section in civil engineering.
I'll start off with the fact, and then I'll explain what I like about my job. Every day in this country, 100 people die on roads and highways. That's every day in crashes. So I was told that there'd be maybe about 300 students in this cafeteria. So about a third of this room, if you can try to picture that, somebody's mother, father, brothers and sisters, you know, passes away in a car accident. So what I like about my job in terms of designing new roads or widening or taking a look at intersections that are high accident locations, I like that I have an impact on making the road safer, which has a direct correlation to a reduction in the number of accidents and therefore a reduction in the number of deaths, accidental deaths in crashes. So that's what I like about my job.
I guess it's twofold for me. One, every day is different. And I know a lot of you guys have been to my presentations, but you know, one day we could be making an arrest, the next day we could be executing a search warrant, collecting evidence, testifying in court. And that's what's been, and the daily challenge of working as a special agent. But the bottom line, why I love my job, or I love my career, my lifestyle that I've had for almost 22 years, is that I get to help people. I get to give a voice to a victim that's deceased or murdered or whatever horrific thing that's happened to him, and I can give a voice to them and to tell the story through science. So that's what I really love about my job and my career.
If I had to say what I enjoy the most so far throughout my undergraduate and graduate degrees, I would have to say that it is the field work that I do, trying to figure out something that I do not know right now at this point. Trying to, you know, put everything together that I learned in my classes to figure out a problem, basically. That's, for me, the biggest joy I get so far.
There are many components of my job and my job description that, you know, I look forward to every day. If I have to only list a couple, would be contributing to advanced knowledge, even if it is just a little bit. From time to time, your data and the project we are working on allow you to make a little discovery. It doesn't have to be, you know, a major one, and that is very rewarding. Also rewarding is when you get a grant. You put a lot of effort into writing grants to receive funding to continue working, and when you get the news that you were awarded a grant, that is something very exciting. And lastly, I was mentioning the discoveries. Well, a discovery or a new finding doesn't mean anything unless it gets published in the journal, and that is very challenging. Every time you get the news from an editor of a journal saying your paper was accepted for publication, it's very exciting for anyone in academia.
Right. And along the same lines, where is Amaranta Soto? Anybody? Oh, good morning. Ms. Soto's question is, what are some of the scholarships available at UTRGV that they can maybe look forward to or apply to? There are many options. If you have a good GPA, that will help you land one. There are big and small. I won't be able to give you the specifics right now. If you are interested in geosciences, we currently have a National Science Foundation educational grant that it will not be applicable to a freshman or a sophomore student, but later in your junior or senior year, you can apply for it depending on your performance and depending on your commitment to graduating with a degree in environmental sciences. So to keep it short, there are many possibilities. When you go through the application process, either at UTRGV or other schools, you will have the chance to meet with advisors who will point you in the right direction and which ones you qualify best for. Right. And it's really important, students, to look at those early because a lot of the times there is a deadline application that comes even before you graduate high school so that you can start transitioning into your college or university of choice. So start looking at those early. I know your counselors do an excellent job, but go to your counselors. They're there to help you. We're all there to help you. Now, I have several questions for LJ. And most of the questions are, what are some of the requirements to become an FBI agent or to get into the FBI?
Okay, so the first career track, to become a special agent, you need a 4-year degree, and again, that degree could be in anything, but I would highly emphasize looking at STEM, looking at accounting, business, etc. on it outside of criminal justice. If you decide to go criminal justice, make sure you have a minor or a double major in something else, but possibly in the STEM area. Okay. Then you are required to have 3 years of work experience. The age to get in the FBI is between 24 and 37. Unless you're a veteran, you could go all the way up to 40, okay? The work experience, it could be in anything. Doesn't need to be in law enforcement, doesn't need to be in military experience. As I always tell you guys, you could be a manager at Whataburger is fine. Let me do a little plug for Whataburger right now. So, but as long as you're showing initiative with it, you're showing that you're showing up to work, you're a leader in that position. So that's another thing with that. If you decide either agent or professional support positions, you're going to undergo a background investigation. Okay, the background investigation will include a polygraph examination. They're going to be looking at your social media accounts as well as your footprint. Okay, they're going to be looking at any kind of criminal activity that you've participated in or if you've been arrested. They're going to look at your drug usage, and I'm trying to think there's a fourth one. But the background investigation will begin when you were basically born. They will go to your teachers in high school, elementary school, all the way up to your collegiate career if you decide to go that route. And where you've lived, your roommates, they'll look at your family, they'll look at your spouses if you're married at the time, etc. So it's a very long process, the background process. So it doesn't matter if you're looking at the special agent position to professional support position. Just to give you an idea of how competitive it is to become a special agent, there's over 100,000 applications per year, and only 1,200 are accepted. So I'm saying that to you guys not to discourage you, because look at me. I was able to get on with the FBI many years ago, okay? Growing up in Brooklyn, in the inner city, really didn't have that much opportunity, okay? So you can do it. I did it, you can do it. Now I'm giving you that advice that you can get there, but you just got to be smart and make good choices and decisions. I'm sorry I'm acting like your mom right now, but I'm going to do it anyways. Okay? Right choices on it. They're looking at the social media, you know, what you're posting, what you've put on there. The Bureau is going to find it. We have engineers with the Bureau that work specifically on that to find different things on social media. So hopefully that answers your questions.
Okay. And I'm going to, one more question, LJ. What, I had it here, but I lost it. Some of the salaries, they were asking how much does a special agent start out at, or anything really in that field?
Yes. So a special agent position, when you go to the FBI Academy is five and a half months long. It's located in Quantico, Virginia, which is about 60 miles south of Washington, D.C. While you're sitting in class, shooting guns, running, boxing, getting OC sprayed, etc., having a great time, I had a great experience, you're making $75,000. Right when you graduate from the academy after 5.5 months, you're bumped up another 25% for what's called availability pay. Now, if you decide to go the professional staff route, we have some folks that have come in that after their high school career, they'll come in as mechanics, as administrative assistants, etc. on it, or they call them operational support technicians now, or evidence control technicians. You can come in making a minimum of $50,000, okay? Language specialists, all the way up to intelligence analysts, engineers, attorneys, can start out making, and forensic scientists and IT folks start out making at least 6 figures and then bumping up from there. Every year, you're giving a bump up with the general schedule, the GS schedule on it as well. So you can take a look at that. Like my partner would always say, you're not going to be rich in the FBI, but you're going to be very, very comfortable. And my family's been very, very comfortable for almost 22 years.
Thank you, LJ. Okay, the next question is for Mike or Anna. How long will it take for me to graduate with a master's degree in mechanical engineering?
All right, so you will start out with your bachelor's, which is like 4, maybe 5 years, like Mike said. It really depends on you. It depends how many hours you take, if you're going full-time or part-time. So it really depends on the individual. Usually for masters, it's about 2 to 3 years. People mostly finish in 2.5. That's basically after your bachelor, so you do need to complete your bachelor before starting your master's. Does that answer it?
Yeah, that answers it. Thank you. Now, I'm going to go with UTRGV with Dr. Gonzalez and Eli. Can you all explain what geoscience is? Because we forgot to do that in the beginning, and I apologize.
No, that's a very important question. We are representing environmental sciences today, but geosciences is a more broader term or umbrella. Anything in the earth sciences, oceanography, meteorology, geology, mining engineering, petroleum engineering for that matter, environmental science, our own program, all of those fall under the geoscience category or group. And again, it's a great time to be a geoscientist.
Okay. Now, along the same lines, let me see. Anthony Amaya, where are you this morning? Hi, Anthony. His question is, what are some of the struggles of being a professor? What are some of the struggles that you encounter, maybe on a daily basis, or just in general, of being a professor?
Well, the main one is 24 hours is never enough. It's so much to do. In academia, we are expected to contribute to education, and that's part of our appointment or job, but we are also expected to do research and contribute to move knowledge forward. So merging those two is important, and having good management, time management skills or prioritizing is very important. Overall, I can say I never have a lot of free time for a lot of other things, but my job in academia, combining education and research, is overall very rewarding, and I look forward to getting out of bed every morning and go to work.
Awesome, and that's what you want in a career. You want to make sure that you choose something that you enjoy going to every single morning, because that is going to be for the rest of your life. So make sure that you choose something that you like, that you're going to get something out of, and enjoy your life as well. Let me see, Jacqueline Torres. Where are you this morning? Hi, Jacqueline. And this is for everyone on here. What made you choose that career?
For me, it was a clear choice when the time came, basically when I was in your position. As Eli said earlier, enjoying the outdoors is important. You probably spend a good portion of your days out in the field, even if it is 104 out there, or if it is raining, in some cases, if you live in upstate New York, if it is snowing, right, LJ? So enjoying the outdoors was important for me. And I always had a natural interest or a personal interest on nature, on rivers, landslides, earthquakes, those sorts of things. So for me, when the time came, it was easy to make the decision, majoring in geology, and it's been very rewarding.
Okay, Eli?
Again, basically, for me, it was when I was growing up in Roma, I kind of lived out in the ranch, basically, and just going out to my ranch and looking at all the different types of rocks and animals and just being out in the outdoors, going fishing every day, hunting, whatnot, like just being exposed to the outdoors kind of led me to this degree that would allow me to keep visiting these locations. For the most part, I knew that I wanted to be in this field maybe when I was a freshman in high school, more or less. So I've been pursuing this degree since then, basically.
Okay, LJ?
I knew it when I was probably 4 or 5 years old that I wanted to be an FBI agent. And I basically lived my whole life just to get to where I am now. And trying to do the right thing, making the right choices, but I made some mistakes along the way. But this is something I knew I wanted to do since I was a little kid.
My route to where I am right now was a little bit different. As I mentioned earlier, in high school, I had a teacher who encouraged me to pursue engineering. So when I got to college, I really wasn't decided as to which field of engineering, which discipline. And so I started off as a mechanical engineer and then later changed to civil. And then even after graduating with a civil engineering degree, I didn't know which field of that discipline to go into. So I did an internship, a summer internship as a structural engineering intern, basically designing building structures. We did a lot of buildings for La Jolla ISD. And I learned in those 3 months that that wasn't really what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And so I got a job working as a traffic engineer. I fell in love with the profession. I went and got additional certifications. I joined a national committee. And so I guess the point that I'm trying to make is if you're in high school or even college and you really haven't pinpointed what you want to go into, it's never too late, as long as you pick something.
All right, well, unlike LJ, I didn't decide to, literally my senior year in high school, I wanted to be a doctor all my life. Since I was like 7 or 8, I'm gonna be a doctor. But then I took the health science classes and I'm like, this is not for me. Like, I like math, I like construction. So I did my research, I saw civil engineering, and I saw that they were offering it at home, so I'm like, might as well just take that advantage. So that's how I studied civil engineering. I ended up liking it. And like I said, and then you'll be learning as you go through high school, as you go through college. And not only because you have a college degree means you know everything. I'm still learning from Mike and the other engineers in the area. And just where I'm going with this is that it doesn't matter how long you take. Some people take longer, some people take shorter. And like Mike said, as long as you get something done, and it doesn't matter where, as long as you like your job, you're gonna wake up every morning and be like, yes, I'm going to work, not like, oh, again, I have to see that face, blah, 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 I have to go sit in a computer. So, I mean, you do something that you want. And sometimes the pay may not be the best, but as long as you're passionate about it. And guys, take advantage. I mean, you guys are still in high school, take advantage of the courses. Like I said, I don't like health science, but if you wanna try welding, you wanna try architecture, try to talk to your counselor. Maybe you can like switch. I'm not sure if they can switch academies or like, I forgot what it's called, like your core. But I mean, if you want to take other classes, take advantage of it, learn right now in high school. Because when you go to college, you're paying for your classes. So if you're there and you're like, oh, I'm going to do medicine. And then like 2 years later, I don't want to do medicine. I want to do math or just science. I mean, try to do research on your own. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody has a phone with internet. I mean, you're a little bored, just Google it yourself. I mean, Google's very helpful. And that's my advice to you. And there's a lot of scholarships. I wanted to add earlier from Dr. Gonzalez, I did have a couple of scholarships. The one that I really liked, and it was a 4-year scholarship, was the VAMOS. I'm not sure if they offer it here. Mm-hmm. But the VAMOS scholarship is very good. It's a 4-year scholarship. And it was very helpful. It helped me pay my tuition. It reduced like any debt that I may have gotten. I had money left over for my books, money left over for myself. I mean, just apply for your scholarships. And it doesn't matter. Don't get discouraged like, oh, I'm not top of my class. It doesn't mean if you're at the top or at the bottom. What determines is like your mindset. If you say, I'm going to do it, you're going to do it. So I just got out of college, and like it is a little difficult, but it's worth it. Right now, I'm just like, my schedule is like from 7:30 to 5:30. And before I would be like so stressed that I'll have homework, projects, and then I did internships, I did research. And I was involved in clubs, so it does get crazy. But I mean, it's all worth it. Now I'm just like on a set schedule. I get home, I get to do anything that I like. So just my advice to you is that try to get a post-secondary education, whether it's a certificate, associates, bachelor's, and you want to go further, you want to get your PhD like LG, that's great. And remember guys, like we need a lot of engineers in the Valley, in Texas, environmental scientists, public service, agents. So I really encourage you guys to start thinking about your future.
Awesome. And one last question before we wrap this up, because I know everybody has to leave and you all need to get back to class. And this is for Mike and Anna. What are some of the salaries, or what can they be expecting if they look into that sort of career? Or where would they start out at?
Okay, so right after college,
guys, if we can listen, we're almost done. So just give us a couple more minutes.
The average starting salary is in the $40,000 range, which comes out to maybe about $20 an hour, if you want to think about it that way. Once you become a professional engineer, which you can accomplish after 4 years of working, the salary essentially doubles to about $80,000 or $40 an hour. And depending on your specialization and promotions and things along the way, you can easily make over 6 digits. I mean, there's engineers that work for TxDOT, some of the higher ups, managers, directors that are making $150,000 and up. So it just depends, how hard you want to work.
Okay, and the final question for everybody before we let everybody go and be dismissed is any last advice that you can maybe give our students to look forward to the future and into their career? Anna, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Well, I kind of got ahead of myself earlier, but just like I said, I really encourage you guys to get a post-secondary education. Take advantage of your counselors, of your teachers, ask them questions, and also look for scholarships. Scholarships are like the best. It's free money that you get, and it's money, something that you get left over for yourself, and you can spend it on anything you like. So I would encourage that.
I would encourage you all to look for 3 things. First, look for something that you're passionate about, okay? Ask yourself, what do I enjoy the most in life? What's my passion? Find something that you're passionate about, and then determine if you're good at it, okay? If you determine that you are good at whatever your passion is, one more thing to check is, can I live off of this? Is it gonna pay the bills? Am I gonna be able to survive? And if the answer is yes to those 3 things, then go for it.
Like Mike said, do something that you love, because it would be really terrible if you do something that you don't love. But the big thing that I would do, the thing that I'm gonna say is that just work hard. Work hard because it pays off at the end of the day. And once you work hard and you put a lot of effort into something, no one can take that from you. Like your education, and they can never take it away from you. So just work hard.
I think I'm basically gonna piggyback off of everybody else here and say that your education is very important. I would strongly take advantage of you guys right now being in high school, really paying attention in classes. These classes are gonna help you start your bachelor's degree or associate's degree. I know, for example, myself, I took up to a Cal 1 in high school, and that was very helpful when I came into college. So your early education right now would be, make sure you take advantage of it. High school might seem like you're in a tough spot right now, but it's only gonna get worse.
I will have to echo LJ's advice, not just on your last answer, but from something you said earlier. The decisions you make today will impact you for the rest of your life. So get good habits daily, how you eat, how you rest, pick good friends, and work very hard. Find a hobby and see if that could be your career. But more importantly, work very hard and develop good habits every day.
Right. Well, guys, this wraps up our first ever panel of speakers for La Jolla ISD. You all are the first ones that are able to do these panel of speakers with some of the best professionals in our area. So I want to thank you all. I know that there's not, we couldn't get to everybody's question. So what we can do is, if it's okay with you all, if we can send some questions your way, and then maybe give feedback to our students later. So there were some very good questions. I'm so impressed with the questions that you asked, how well behaved you were. So thank you so much for that. On behalf of La Jolla ISD, we want to thank you all for taking some time to speak to our students. And I know Ms. Palomo wants to thank you herself, and I think she has a little something for you all. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Palomo.
So, thank you very much for coming to speak to our students. It really means a lot. I know that we have One of our school visions, our school vision and our school mission is to get our students college and career ready. And so on behalf of my principal, Ms. Isabel Solis, administration, teachers, and staff, we would like to thank you for being here. So thank you. Your voice really impacts our students, and your advice will be taken to heart, and all your recommendations. So thank you. Students, I want to say thank you for being in your best behavior. I want to say that your questions are important. As always, your voice is important. Think about what you want to do in your future, because it's important to reflect so that you can start making those decisions. So again, thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask the ambassadors to stay behind. Teachers, thank you for monitoring. So all students, you have 2 minutes to get to your classes. Report to your classes at this time. Ambassadors, stay behind.